This is not your normal Minecraft world. For Season 3 of ZetaCraft, Ricky rolled out the Sky Islands world. The Skylands, if you will. This means that all of the land in this world generates as these massive floating islands, which boasts the most epic terrain generation I have ever seen. And below the islands, nothing. It is all void. This adds a layer of complexity and challenge, the likes of which you cannot get in a normal Minecraft world. Experiencing this is like playing Minecraft for the very first time, all over again. Season 3 is going to be nothing short of amazing. So let's get started.
So I want to count us in for the new season. Don't everyone talk at once.
Can I recommend that we all just do a fist fight before we leave this area, and last one standing wins?
Down.
Oh God.
Mindless, stop crouching, please.
I'm at 0 deaths.
Mindless, stop crouching.
Hey, now good. My
I'm glad
bad.
I'm on this side. That means nobody can see it.
Welcome to Season 3 of ZetaCraft. And it is quite a different season we have planned here today. If you look at the world around us, we are actually doing a floating islands world for the season. So we have an entire world where there's no bedrock layer, there's void everywhere, and it's going to be an absolute blast to do something very different for us, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. We've got some new Zetas here to join us for the new season. And as we all know, once you're a Zeta forever. So they are now officially Zeta members. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No.
And with that, let's have a really good season.
Hey. Oh, jeez. I don't even have my inventory on. Oh, no.
I'm not doing that.
Ah, jeez. Running away.
What just happened? Everybody's going for the crits.
I mean, I've already got Mega's head, so I'm good.
Oh, no.
I go.
Ah,
Back to spawn, back to
oh
spawn.
my goodness, you guys are so violent.
Oh, there I go.
And we've got a death.
I'm not
We've
like
got a death.
Yes! I got you!
No, I'm gonna win this.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Run away.
Okay, I'm one point down.
I
I feel like I'm being targeted.
For those that are just joining us, someone said something about a battle royale.
Yeah,
With
but it's not really
fists.
going very well.
Yeah.
On that note, it is finally time for our Season 3 adventure to begin. The style of this first episode will be a little bit different from how we normally do things, and that is because I was unable to join the rest of the Zetas in voice chat for the server launch. So what I did instead was take 3 hours of server launch footage and trim it down to just the highlights and best moments. We'll start with a few of the staple moments that I wanted to share with everyone, and then from there we'll jump into a time-lapse of the journey. After the dust settled on the celebratory season launch fist fight, we headed off to the east and started gathering a few materials. As our journey carried us to the southeast, we unintentionally ran into the mechanic. This works out perfectly because Mechanic and I are basing together this season. So the fact that we were able to link up this early is going to make our journey that much easier. It was bound to happen eventually, but the sun finally set on day 1 of Season 3. We took this opportunity to make ourselves a nice little hidey hole and also capture this moment right here. Our family of Zetas is spread all across the globe, so seeing this many of us online at once is definitely a moment to cherish. Speaking of moments to cherish, this felt like another one of those. I know we all started at the same time, so obviously we'll be getting achievements at roughly the same time, but this one felt special. If you pay attention to the chat log, you'll see that while there are a few casualties, all of the Zetas are getting their monster hunting achievement at the same time. This felt like a moment of camaraderie, where we were all going into battle together, and we were all going to survive the first night together. Or, most of us anyway. But it didn't take long to survive the night because Sally made a bed and slept, saving the rest of us from almost certain doom. Coming face to face with the void for the first time in a survival setting is an insane experience. I am so excited for this season. Not very far into our journey, Mechanic was the first Zeta to get diamonds. Shortly after that, Sally claimed her diamonds. And this next moment is the best because we're claiming the 3rd diamonds of the season. It's not first, but it's top 3, so I'll take it. As our travels took us a little less east and a little more south than we should have been going, Mechanic, we found this nice little sheltered spot to set some of our things down, regroup, and check out this surface cave. It was the perfect place. Or so I thought. This is where things get a little interesting. If you pay attention to this andesite block right here, you'll notice that I did not pay attention because after confronting this creeper, I tried to backpedal directly into that andesite block, and that cost me my first death of the season, which put us all the way back at spawn. So let's run catch up with Mechanic. After making it back to Mechanic, we were able to claim our lost inventory thanks to the gravestone mod. And then head back up above ground to grab the rest of our things and once again continue in a southern direction when we probably should have been heading east. But that's okay, because we eventually figured it out and rerouted our course to the correct direction. An hour and a half later, and we've finally made it to the island. But our work's not over yet. First thing we need to do is build ourselves a little farm so we can grow some wheat and round up all of the loose animals on this island. But it doesn't make sense to round up all the animals if we don't have anywhere to keep them. So we need to build a little pen for them first. Yeah, I think that should do the trick. Now we just need to find some animals to fill it with. Okay, now we can take these cows and we can turn them into even more cows. Now that we've got the cows situated, it's time to take care of 2 birds with 1 stone. We're gonna get ourselves the goodest boy there ever was and also protect any remaining sheep that are still alive on this island. Operation Save the Sheeps was a success. Now let's add them to our collection so we can make even more sheeps per sheep. Last but most certainly not least, Mechanic and I's doggos have become parents for the second time, leaving us each with 2 dogs apiece. And with that very long journey under our belt, we finally have a place to rest our very, very weary head. We did just a little bit of work in the time since we first arrived here on Mechanic's Island. Mechanic has been very, very hard at work with all sorts of farms and creations and systems and contraptions, which means one of us needs to put a roof over our heads. That sounds passive-aggressive. I promise I didn't mean it passive-aggressively. Throwing this build together was so much easier than some of the projects that Mechanic's been working on. It is not a permanent structure. This is a temporary shelter for us just to kind of organize our thoughts and get a battle plan together, and just a little base of operations so that we can run around and work on other projects. But as it turns out, with the scale of some of the projects we have been working on, and by we, I mostly mean Mechanic, have been working on around here, we very quickly outgrew this tiny little building. The chests that we had here just were not enough. And of course, because these are all temporary structures, we needed a storage facility that was out of the way. Not obstructing any of the ongoing projects, not a big eyesore, easy to get rid of when we were done with it. Which brings us right here. We've got a very large storage facility. We are not nearly to capacity yet, but this should be big enough to take care of all of our storage needs for the time being. We've got a place for everything down here. But I unintentionally made this place feel like a cargo ship, the hull of an old wooden ship. I guess you could also say like a root cellar, which is kind of... Root cellar was the original vibe that we were going for. One of the biggest things about this part of the build that really held me up from making progress was figuring out how we were going to label what was in each chest. You could go the item frame route, but then you have to be really careful about clicking the very corner of the chest in order to open it, otherwise you're messing with the orientation of the object in the item frame. We had some signs up here to begin with labeling the tops of the chest, but the problem with that is that I feel like you're just breaking your neck to look up there and read those signs. But I think going with the hanging signs worked out really nicely. The first row I did, I loved it. It does feel a little bit cluttered with so many hanging signs here, but it adds some depth to the build, and like Mechanic has pointed out many times as I have worked my way through this build to see a final product, is that this is temporary, so it does not need to be perfect because we will not be utilizing it forever. What will likely end up happening is we will clear out all the chests and possibly do a little cave-in demolition, backfill this thing as if it never existed. At least not in the physical world. It will exist forever in my heart because of how freaking happy I am with how this build turned out. I absolutely love it. I love hanging out in this little storage room. And as much as I love living here and basing with Mechanic, this is a temporary arrangement. We will maintain our alliance, our partnership throughout the season, but in order for us each to have complete creative freedom in terms of building and utilizing the space around us, you know, not stepping on each other's toes, we will have to spread our wings and fly. And I'm not going to take you guys to see our base location this episode, but I will tell you this. You did actually see it in this episode. It is somewhere in the span of this video. That's going to conclude a very awesome first episode of ZetaCraft Season 3. We've got so much in store and I can't wait to share it all with you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.